We're now live on Instagram. What's up, guys? Season 13, year 13 of the show is underway. Kind of crazy. I can't believe we started putting this together when I was 21, 22 years old, and now I'm 36. It's amazing. Anyways, live taking your questions. Them in. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram right now. As mentioned, season 13 underway. We kicked off the season with magician David Blaine, one of my favorite people of all time that took, like 7 years to book. Then Will Zalatoris, the young golfing phenom, with a little bit of a cameo from Tony Romo. We had comedian Nikki Glazer in my hometown of St. Louis. Also have done another one this season in my hometown, St. Louis, Jayson Tatum, that is coming out this week. Just came out on digital and is going to be airing this weekend on TV. Send in your questions. Again, we'll get to them here momentarily on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Also have some cool ones coming up. Dirk Nowitzki, Tom Izzo. We just taped Misty Copeland a few days ago in New York, the trailblazing ballerina. Get a lot of questions from you guys often on where you can watch the show, because, some watching on Instagram or YouTube, see stuff there. But remember, the full episodes of the show also air on TV, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox stations across the U.S., NBC Sports Nets, Bally's Sports Nets, and some others re-air it on regional sports television networks. Internationally, ESPN carries it on TV, BT Sport in the UK and Ireland, TSN in Canada, video screens on taxi cabs, plus the long-form interview on podcasts. So a bunch of places you guys can kind of check out our content. Plus, our catalog of full episodes is available on through memberships on Facebook and YouTube, plus a lot of kind of behind-the-scenes content as well. So that's kind of what we got on tap. Before we get to questions, just quick thank you to you guys. And I know I say it all the time, but it is, again, crazy to think we're in year 13, season 13 of the show, and it's because of you guys. So appreciate the support, the belief in me and our team to kind of continue creating this content. Means the world to us. The other thing I'd mention too, we love when you guys send in guest suggestions. We, on many occasions, have pursued people that you guys have sent our way. So you can email them to me, graham@grahambensinger.com. I remember for a long time we were getting messages about going to feature Valentino Rossi, the obviously, biking legend, for an episode of the show. And so many months back, we went to Italy to profile him because of your guys' suggestions. So send in suggestions, graham@grahambensinger.com. All on the platforms. If you have any questions for me, we'll be hanging out here for a bit, catching up. So Dan is the voice you're going to hear in the background reading off some questions. And Dan, what do we got?
So first of all, some people just said, hi, Graham, like Matthew Frazier, and Tanya says, how are you? Christopher writes in on Facebook, who are your top 3 favorite interviewees, I guess, of all time? That's sort of an unfair question, isn't it?
I'll mention just random ones that come to mind. First, I love having had the opportunity to sit down with magician David Blaine for an episode. I was actually just talking to him a little bit ago today, as we've gotten to know each other a bit since, because while you'll see him in the media, he doesn't do extended, like longer form profile type interviews. So it took having lunch with him in New York, another lunch with him in Santa Monica, one a dinner in the UK, and then a meeting at his New York office. This is all over a number of years before he finally agreed to do it. So like that was like personally very gratifying that he trusted us enough to share his story in the way he did through our show. Richard Branson, who I've mentioned before, the British billionaire entrepreneur, was another really enjoyable booking. It was a chance meeting with him at his lodge in North Africa, an hour and a half outside of Marrakesh, that then led to us spending the better part of a week with him in the Bahamas taping an episode. So, loved that one. Brian Grazer, the producing legend, him and Ron Howard create all the movies through their Imagine Entertainment, because Brian's a salesman and knows how to basically turn no's into yeses in terms of selling his idea in or getting a big movie pitch through. And so that was really interesting to me. And then Jim Brown, one of the most socially significant athletes of the past century. We've sat down with him on a couple of occasions at his home in the Hollywood Hills. So sorry for droning on with the answer, but a few come to mind, and those are the ones that I'd mentioned, Dan.
Yeah, Graham, Larry Price from St. Louis, he says, how big of an influence was Bob Costas on you?
Oh, man. Uh, Bob, I kind of idolized Bob growing up. And that's why it was so cool having the opportunity to tape an episode with him many months back in New York. That was another one that, I mean, what we worked on for like 15 years. He wrote my college recommendation letter to Syracuse, always kind of went out of his way to be kind to me. His son was a year above me in high school, and so their number was in the school book. And so, dating back to when I was in like 8th grade, hosting an internet radio show, I would call Bob and ask him to do interviews, and just went out of his way to be accommodating and joining me on a show that he had no business spending time on. And so, while it took a while to get him for this episode taping, he's always been very generous in terms of time and advice. And yeah, I mean, the success he's had through broadcasting is something that anybody in my role would aspire to achieve even a fraction of.
Yep. Another comment from St. Louis. Who was your favorite athlete growing up? That's from your Instagram.
Who's my favorite athlete growing up? Oh man. Well, so being from St. Louis, I mean, I'd have to say Mark McGuire because he came, I think, to the Cardinals in what 97 ish. I think I was in fifth grade, and then 98, sixth grade, he goes for and breaks Roger Maris's single season home run record, and just kind of the energy and celebration around that, and being kind of already a diehard Cardinals fan. He was probably for sure the guy growing up that I would always want to watch.
Also from your Instagram.
And by the way, we're taking your questions. I should mention Jayson Tatum again is the episode that we just released this week. Clips now live on YouTube and Facebook. The full episode airs this weekend. We were with him here in my hometown, St. Louis, but then we also went to Boston with him to see what his setup's like out there, and spent a little time with him and his son Deuce, which was super fun. So that's this week, and then we have Dirk Nowitzki and Tom Izzo and Misty Copeland coming up, as well as some others on tap as well.
Billy Cole from your Instagram. What's up, Graham? I'm a big fan. Just got my first job in sports journalism, covering all sports at a university. Any tips for me going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think again that he was doing
sports journalism at a university.
Sports journalism. Yeah. So look, I don't know what in sports journalism you're interested in doing, but I would say, um, when it comes to pursuing a career in it, of less importance is the outlet you're getting the early work through, and of most importance is just putting yourself in a situation to get like real experience and reps. So, in other words, if you want to be a reporter, I'd argue it makes a lot more sense to go be a reporter at a paper in a small town than starting at CNN where you're going to be fetching coffee for somebody. So just put yourself in a situation, whatever it is you're interested in doing, where you're getting real experience and reps.
Also, from your Instagram, what does it take to be a successful interview taker? How do you talk to almost anyone? I think they mean across the board, entertainment, sports, movies.
First, that's really kind of you. I would argue I have a very long way to get to where I'd like to professionally, in what would be like constituted a success in my mind. Nonetheless, I think for me, the only thing that I have going for myself is just the amount of time we put into prepping for each taping. We put probably 100 hours of research into each interview, leading up to the sit down between myself, our producers, or researcher, and I will kind of every last thing I possibly can know about the person that we're interviewing. And I think if you come prepared, even if the subject you're profiling is largely unaware of who you are as an interviewer, there's a level of respect that's pretty immediately gained if they see you've really done your homework, and that inherently creates opportunities for better access they'd otherwise normally give. And so, really, that's I think the only thing that's helped me to date. And then you need to listen too. You might have a follow-up question you're thinking you want to ask, but then the person you're interviewing says something else that, if you're paying attention, could cause you to ask a completely different question than you were otherwise thinking. So I think being able to pivot is helpful. And then it really doesn't matter to me whether we're interviewing a sports star, a politician, or an actor, etc. It's all the same type of interview. I just really enjoy good stories. So having the chance to talk to somebody who's been really successful in their own field and ask them about how they got to where they are, highs, lows, lessons learned, everything in between, that's kind of what I really enjoy.
Sure. We always get asked this, and we're asked by several people right now, who's a dream interview guest or two? Who's on your bucket list?
Everybody. Uh, I mean, go down the list of, some of the biggest actors from, you know, Tom Cruise to a sitting head of state, I think would be interesting. I think Obama would be interesting. I think Trump would be interesting. I think Serena Williams, and I mean, the list just goes on and on. One that obviously, can no longer happen, but would have forever been on the wish list would have been the Queen, who, basically did nothing in terms of interviews. And so it's always exciting to me having the chance to sit down with people that don't talk much, because there's kind of the chase and the get. But yeah, people just from all walks of life who've had success in their respective fields. The list
Just
is a
time
mile
for a
long.
few more questions. Will Zalatoris seemed like a pretty down to earth guy. What was it like hanging out with him in Dallas
He,
with Tony Romo?
yeah, I mean, Will was horrible.
Yeah.
Couldn't stand him. No, Will was great. It was what was so cool about Will was we did this episode taping with Romo in March of 20. We had just gotten back from spending a couple days in Serbia with Novak Djokovic. We flew from there to Dallas for Tony Romo. We taped Romo Monday. Wednesday, they then postponed the NBA season, and kind of everything happened from there in terms of, COVID shutdowns around the pandemic. But when we went to the golf course with Romo, he's like, hey, if you don't mind, there's going to be this kid that I'm playing with. He's a pretty good golfer. And it was Will Zalatoris. And I had no idea who he was. He's still in the Corn Ferry at the time. But Romo's like, yeah, he's watched a lot of your stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, haha, give me a break. But I watched a number of our interviews, and we exchanged numbers, didn't think anything of it. And then fast forward like a year or year plus, and all of a sudden I'm like, is this kid that's winning all these tournaments the same one we met through Tony? And we went back and checked the video, and like, sure enough, it was Will. So I think first person we have ever profiled for an episode of the show that would actually admit to watching our content. But Will's great, like he's killing it, about as committed to his craft as anybody. And it was a good time, not only being able to, spend part of a day with him in Dallas, but also get Romo to come back out for it. And we spent some time with Tony and Will at Tony's house, which I think was beneficial because Tony has really uniquely mentored Will. So yeah, it was kind of cool.
Last question. We'll end on a lighthearted one. Sean wants to know what's your favorite pizza place in St. Louis.
Favorite pizza place in St. Louis.
And is it Emo's or something else?
Union Loafers.
There you go.
Best. You want good pizza, I'd highly recommend Union Loafers. If anybody disagrees, they're welcome to message me, or I'd welcome suggestions as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you like these Q&As, feel free to message us. We're game to do them as often as you like. Again, guest suggestions. We'd love you to make some name recommendations. You can email them to me, graham@grahambensinger.com, if there are people that you'd like to see coming up. If you want to know where to watch our content, I rattled off the list earlier in this live, but you can check out the list of all our partners, Graham at grahambensinger.com on our website. Remember, memberships is where you can find our catalog of episodes, plus exclusive content, behind the scenes access, etc. That's on YouTube and Facebook. Again, season 13 underway. Appreciate all the support. Really means a lot. And see you guys later.